Hello everybody, just before we get going I do want to apologise for the lighting in this video. Right now it's not too bad because I'm filming this the next day because my camera lost the footage, but later on it does get a little bit more yellowy because I had to turn my main light on, so I do apologise for that. Hopefully you will be able to still see all of the crochet stitches, all of the things that you need to see, but just apologies for that as you continue watching. But without further ado, let's get on to the video. Okay then, so today in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to make these adorable crochet pumpkins. So I've made quite a few at the moment and I've seen them all over Instagram and Pinterest, and I thought that they were a fun way to incorporate the autumn Halloween season into our homes by using our favourite craft of crochet. So all you're going to need for this video is two different coloured yarns. I've got this kind of rusty red, which is this pumpkin, and then this darker brown to make the stalk with. I'm using a DK weight yarn. You can use whatever weight that you prefer. It will just mean that your pumpkin may be bigger or smaller depending on what weight you use. But get two contrasting colours. Then I've got a crochet hook, a pair of scissors and a darning needle, just because we are going to work our piece flat and then sew it all up at the end, and you will need a little bit of stuffing, toy stuffing, to fill your pumpkin with. So go ahead and grab your materials and then we can get going to create our cute crocheted pumpkins. Okay then, all you're going to do to begin your pumpkin is work a slip knot. As I said, we're working it flat and then sewing it up all together, and it's a super easy stitch to do. So we're going to begin by chaining a total of 20. I'm making an average sized pumpkin, so if you want an average sized, chain 20. If you want a little bit bigger, go for a little bit of a larger number, that's totally okay. So we're going to chain 20, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 19 and 20, and then we're going to chain 1 as our turning chain. So now I've just chained a total of 20. We're ready to work row number 1. So missing out our turning chain and working into the second chain from the hook, all you're going to do along this row is work double crochets in every single chain. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And you're just going to work that all the way along. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Working 1 into every chain along for row number 1. So go ahead and pause the video now, work double crochets in every single chain along, and I will meet you back when you have finished that. Okay then, so we're now ready for row number 2, and to begin this row all you're going to do is chain 2 and turn your work, and all we're going to do along this row is a half treble crochet. So if you've never done these before, they're super simple, so don't worry. This chain 2 is going to count as our first half treble, so we're just going to work into the second stitch because that chain 2 will act as the first half treble. So to do a half treble, all you're going to do is yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, so you'll have 3 loops on your hook, but instead of only pulling through 2 and then pulling through 2 again, you're going to pull through all 3 of the loops on your hook, and that is how you work a half treble. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And you're just going to repeat that again all the way to the end of your row. So you end up having 20 half trebles, and that is what you need to do for row number 2. Pause the video and work half trebles all along the rest of your row. Remember to pull through all 3 of your loops instead of only working through 2 and then 2 again. Okay then, so I've just worked row number 2, and they are the only 2 stitches that you are going to need for this pattern. It is super simple. So the next row is just slightly different to row number 1, but it's very similar. So you're going to chain 1 and turn your work, and now we can start making the ridges on the pumpkin. So what you'll start to notice on this side of your work is that on the wrong side of your half trebles, so you've just worked a row of half trebles, on the opposite side to those, you'll start to see these ridges build up, because that's just how the half treble stitch works. And we're going to use those ridges to our advantage, and we're going to use them to create the ridges in our pumpkins. So all you need to do to bring out those ridges even more is work double crochets into the back loop. So don't worry if you've never done this before. So you're going to work your double crochets just like row number 1, but you're only going to work them into the back loop only. So if you turn your work on the side, you'll see that you have your V's, which are your stitches that you create. And you can see that you have a front loop here and a back loop here. So we're going to work into these back loops only instead of working through both of them. So all you're going to do is insert your hook into the back loop, like so, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. So I'll show you again, this one will be a little bit easier to see. Into the back loop here, yarn over and pull through 2. Into the back loop here, yarn over and yarn over, pull through 2. Into the back loop here, yarn over and yarn over, pull through 2. And that will just start to bring your ridges out even more. So just to recap, for row number 1 we worked a row of double crochets into our chains, then we worked a row of half treble crochets, and now we are working a row of double crochets but into the back loops only. So go ahead and repeat this for row number 3, and I will meet you back when you have finished. Okay then, so I've just worked my double crochets all the way along, and now we're ready to do row number 4. So chain 2 and turn your work, and in this row, just like row number 2, you're going to work half trebles all the way along. So just like we did, we skipped this first stitch because our chain 2 counts as our first half treble, and we actually worked into that chain 2 back along when we were working our doubles. So go ahead and work half trebles into every stitch along, making sure that you pull through all 3 of your loops to create the half treble effect. And repeat that all the way along for row number 4. Okay then, so I've just worked that all the way along. We can chain 1 and turn our work, and now we're ready to just do a repeat. So you're now able to go off and do this on your own. So for the next row, you're just going to work double crochets into the back loops only, and then you're going to work a row of half trebles, and so on and so on and so on. And you're going to repeat this until you have 30 rows in total. So you'll get quite a long piece of work, but then we're going to sew it all up so it looks a bit more like a pumpkin. So you can either count 30 rows, or what I like to do is count the ridges. So you can see that this ridge here is 1, and then the next row will be number 2. So if you count those, you will have 15 ridges in total. Or you can count the amount of rows you do, and in that case you will have 30 rows. So go ahead and repeat this all the way along, working a row of double crochets in the back loop only and a row of half trebles along the next row. So pause the video here, work 30 rows or until you have 15 ridges, and then we will meet back to sew it all together. Okay then, so again, apologies for the lighting. I feel like it's really yellow. I do apologise. Anyway, I've just finished my 30 rows of this piece. So you can see my little ridges of where the half double crochets have kind of been brought out by the double crochets in the back loops. So hopefully you've been able to create something like this, and as I said, we work it flat, and now we're going to do the fun part of sewing it all up and making it into a pumpkin shape. So first things first is I'm just going to cut off my yarn. So I've just chained one, and you will need to leave a good enough tail because this is what you are going to be using to sew your piece together. And then all you need to do is pull your hook upwards and give it a little bit of a tug so it's nice and tight. Okay then, so now we are ready to begin sewing up your piece. So it can be a little bit fiddly, and I have experimented with sewing it up, but this is kind of the way that I found works best for me into this shape. So I'm just going to thread my needle. So all you need to do is go in and out of your piece, which is super simple, but one thing I would mention is don't go really close together. So if you're starting here, don't go in here and come out there and go in like right next to it, because that way when you cinch it up, it will leave gaps. So you do want to leave a big enough space. So I just like to kind of follow the pattern and just go in and out. That should be okay. It's not really an exact science. So when you just reach your end, all you need to do is pull on that thread, as you can see. So if you want to go back and have a bit of an experiment with it, you can. It's very forgiving and easy to do, so don't worry if you are not happy with it and you want to go back. So now you have cinched up the bottom, we can now start to sew the sides together. So all you're going to do is the whip sew, or kind of whichever you prefer, but I'm going to show you this way first. So I'm on this side right now. All I'm going to do is bring my needle over and thread through that side, and that will hopefully secure and fasten down that bit there. Okay then, so now I'm going to go through the other side. So just like so, go through the other side. And then to kind of do the whip stitch or the whip sew, all you need to do is, not as normal we would go through this way and back through this way, but to do the whip you're going to go back through this side first. So just like so. As I said, if this isn't the way that you prefer to sew up, if you do have a specific way that kind of works for you, go ahead and do that. But for me, I just prefer doing this one. So I'm going to go back through this side and through the other side. And what I like to do, making sure, once I've done a few stitches like so, what I like to do is, as I said before, hold these two ends together, just so that I don't get too much on one side than on the other, so that I can kind of pair them up well. Okay then, so now we're ready to bring in the stuffing. Okay then, so you won't actually be able to know where you completely want your stuffing yet, but you can have just a squish around with it when you've finished sewing it up. Okay then, so now we're ready to sew up the top of our pumpkin so that it can look a little bit more like a pumpkin. So I like to tuck that thread in, and again you're just going to go in and out just like you did with the bottom, and again leaving enough space so that it's easily cinched up. Okay then, so what I like to do now is just secure where I've just sewn. So I just like to go through really randomly around the top, just kind of sewing it around, just securing it even more. Okay then, so you're probably thinking this looks nothing like a pumpkin, it looks more like a pear than a pumpkin, which I was thinking, how am I going to make this look like a pumpkin? So what you're going to do is we're going to send our needle all the way through from the top coming out the bottom, just to squish our pumpkin down like so it looks a little bit more like a pumpkin. So all you're going to do that is send your needle through, send it back through the other end, poking it through, give it a nice big tug. So like so, just give it a nice big tug where you want it. So I really like a nice squashed pumpkin, so I give it a really big tug. And then you're going to do what you did on the other side and just kind of sew round the centre, so you can start anywhere really and just secure that down, making sure that you don't lose the tension of the tug when you're sewing round. And then you're going to go back through the other side, so send it back through the centre, up through the middle. It can come out anywhere really because it's going to be hidden by the same colour of yarn. And then finish off by again just kind of sewing randomly in. As I said, it's really forgiving because you can go in any place, any direction, because all the yarn is the same colour. And then what I like to do is just send my needle through randomly and give it a nice trim off. Okay then, so that's the main part of your pumpkin. Just give it a good squish and a nice position in the way that you want it. But as you can see, it looks a little bit more pumpkin-like. But now we are just quickly going to do the stem and sew that on. Okay then, so taking your second colour, I've just got this dark brown. All you're going to do is make a slip knot. You're going to insert your crochet hook and you're going to chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And then all you're going to do is slip stitch along this row. So from the second chain from the hook, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through the loop and just work a slip stitch into every single stitch. Then chain 1, cut your yarn, pull through, and then you have your stalk. And then all you're going to do is sew on where you want your stalk. Again, it's really not an exact science. And there you have your completed pumpkin with a nice lovely stalk on the top. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. I hope you found it helpful. Again, I'm really sorry for the lighting, but I really wanted to get this video filmed and up for you, and it kind of makes it a little bit fun and cozy for the autumn. So I hope you're all having a good October and a good autumn. I hope you've had fun making some of your own pumpkins, whether that's from me or from someone else. I hope you've had some fun picking out some new autumn colours and having an experiment with all your autumn crochet creations. So thank you all so much for watching. Leave me a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below what colours and what projects you have coming up for the autumn, and also subscribe so you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram if you have the chance. I'm at hooks.andneedles1. You'll be able to see the actual colour of this pumpkin and loads more fun crochet creations. So thank you all, thank you for joining me on this rainy evening, and have a good week. Thank you all, and keep crafting.